We're learning. Oops. Okay. We're learning Perek Yud Aleph in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah. Dvorim elu she'amarnu, all that which we have mentioned, b'inyan zeh, in this regard, b'shnei prokim elu, these two chapters, k'moitipa min hayam. They're just a drop in the ocean. We go down to the Peirush HaMeir, which has to be explained, b'inyan zeh, with regard to all that we discussed. Ubiur, in the clarification of kol ha'ikorim, of the principles of B'shnei Prokim Ela that are found in these two first chapters, Hu Anikra Ma'aseh Merkava. They are referred to as the action of creation. The statement of the name Ma'aseh Merkava we find in Shas a few times. Look at Shabbos Peyam and Beis and other places. The Rambam calls these two Prokim Ma'aseh Merkava, knowing about the Creator, may His name be blessed, and understanding all the existence of that which He created, and how they went from position to position, and how they go up, the Malachim and the spheres. As we find in the Meiri, he writes that Ma'aseh Merkava is the existence of God and how He's referred to, and the obligation of all that's found from Him, and the Malachim, the angels, and the soul, and the intellect, and what will happen after death. Ba'tanura and Chagiga, Beis Amud Aleph writes, Ma'aseh Merkava is what Yecheskel saw and Yeshayahu Hanavi saw. Rambam explains Ma'aseh Merkava is the existence of a God and how we refer to Him and to comprehend Him, and the angels and the nefesh and the seichel, and what will be after death. And he writes that all this, it does not seem that all of this should be called Ma'aseh Merkava. If that was the case, it should be written Chochmas HaMerkava, the wisdom of comprehending which was created. Ela Ma'aseh Merkava, the fact of the action of putting everything together, is that through the mentioning of the name of Kedusha, they utilize the crown of Gashem, and they see how the angels stand in their positions, and how there is a chamber within chamber, and as do those who see with Ruach HaKodesh. That's what the Bostoner writes. Let us point out that the Yavitz writes that even the Rambam calls all these Prokim Ma'aseh Merkava. It means we don't actually comprehend them. Only those who are true scholars, and they're right in their writings, you will find the true wisdom, which is above and hidden from all of the eyes of the living. And the true Ma'aseh Merkava is to recognize the where the Kruvim find themselves, and everything that is found in the very upper heavens, from their names and their attributes, that they are utilized to show the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Learning Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, Perek Beis, Halacha Yud Beis, Tzivah HaChamor Yishonim. The first Chachamim commanded that one should not go and try to delve into these items. If you do it, you have to study it only one person with another. We go down to the Peirush, that person should be a wise man, the person who's being taught and comprehend from his own wisdom. And once he's at that like a stage, you transfer to him the basics, and you let him know just a bit of what is being discussed, and he comprehends with his own knowledge, and he knows Seif Hadovo, the ending of what it is, the Omko in its depths. The forbiddenness to delve into that which is beyond man's understanding, we find in Mishnah Chagigo in 11b that you do not discuss forbidden relationships with three, and nor Maisa Mekova Bishnayim, and not Maisa Bereshis rather Bishnayim, the creation of the world with two, V'lei Mekova B'yochid, or Maisa Mekova with an individual, and unless that individual was wise or maybe midaitoy and comprehends on his own. These are things that we discussed them, are called Maisa Mekova, as we find in the previous Halacha. Therefore, one should discuss it only with one person alone. What's the reasoning? Because in order to understand these things, we need many preparations. And without those preparations, a person can make a mistake and will comprehend things in a way that's not correct. And that will cause him to go off the proper way. Therefore, we don't teach this only to one individual at a time, and on the condition that he comprehends what you're saying to him on his own. That like meat and bread are good for the physical, and even so, you keep it from children because the child is not able to digest it, the infant. So too, not everybody can comprehend these things. The Rambam continues, these facts have great depth, very, very deep. And not every intellect is able to accept them, and therefore you can't just teach it. And this is what Shlomo HaMelech said in his wisdom in Mishli, with a simile, it is like sheep to your garment. The Chacham said in Chagiga 13a, Peirush HaMeir, in explaining the simile, the parable, things that are they use the word, they are the fire of the world, shall be covering you, only to you yourself, do not teach them in public to the many. This means, the Mefarish explains, to conquer and to be parable to this wisdom, because that is the given to you as the strength of a parable, and therefore it'll be your garment, meaning to you alone, and do not do it with many. You can do it for yourself if you comprehend it. The Mefarish also explains that kvosim l'vushecho means from hidden, and something which is as we find an Novi who hides his prophecy in Sanhedrin 89a. A person doesn't reveal it, meaning these things should be hidden by you. You should have them as a garment, and do not make them known to others. Alein Omar, Shlomo HaMelech said, Mishlei, should be for you alone and not for strangers. Alein Omar, he also said in Shiurim, as it says, that honey and milk is under your tongue. And so explain the first wise men, Dvorim shehein kidvash v'chol, things that are as sweet as honey and milk, that they should be hidden under your tongue, meaning be careful with them. While you say to avoid it, and Slonim asked the question, if you can't teach it, right, how did the Rambam write and tell it to others? The answer is that everything the Rambam wrote, that's from the concept of philosophy. They learned from the nations, and all of their wisdom is what they learned from the Jews, because the early kings were close to the wise men of Jewish people, as we find in Medrash Megillah, and they mixed in with the words of the Chazal their foolishness. The Rambam cleansed them, or sifted them, and took out the flour. And everything that he told us here is only from those things they should know that are known to the philosophers of the world and to the majority of Yisrael. And this is to make sure that people don't make a mistake in that which is even understood for simple people, as he writes in the Moreh Nevuchim, to push off the arguments of those who make a mistake. And this is already permissible. But the wisdom, the true wisdom, what they is really understood, the Rambam did not make revealed, and he kept it to himself. The Migdal Oiz in Or HaToiv writes that since the Rambam says you can't reveal it to many, it's a sign that he knew other things other than those that he wrote in the Hachazaka, and his soul achieved much greater revelation of God. But he kept it to himself, as it says, it should be for yourself, not for others. And here the Migdal Oiz goes according to his opinion that the Rambam understood even Kabbalah. Certainly the Rambam, he had great levels of comprehension, even if they're not from the Kabbalah. He writes furthermore that a person can achieve Ma'aseh Mekubah only through HaKodesh if he finds favor in the eyes of Hashem, and he'll see everything is clear without any mistake or falsehood. Ram Padva writes that Mekubah is like a vision that Yechezkel saw, where he saw the four creatures and the four Ifanim. It's called Merkova because usually when you have a carriage, which is what Merkova means, it's tied to the four horses, as we find in Sefer Malachim. The Rebbe in Shuvosov disagrees and writes that if it's only just an entourage, so he didn't comprehend it at all, because there is a concept of a carriage which is above that of the action of the creation of that which surrounds the Kisei HaKovod. And he concludes that these mistakes, you can think about them even in the Beis HaKisei because they are mistakes and they're not Torah. After these two parokim, Rambam will explain Ma'aseh Bereshis, the act of creation in this earth itself.